November 18th, 1900, Volume 4. The union of one's heart with that of Jesus makes one pass on to the state of perfect consummation. He continues to keep my heart inside his heart, and every now and then he deigns to let me see it, making feast as if he had made a great gain. In these days when I find myself outside of myself, at the place that corresponds to the heart, instead of the heart, I see the light that blessed Jesus sent me in those 3 breaths. Then this morning, on coming, showing me his heart, he told me, "My beloved, which one would you like, my heart or yours? If you want mine, you will have to suffer more. Know, however, that I have done this to make you pass on to another state, because when one reaches union, one passes to another state, which is that of consummation. And in order to pass to this state of perfect consummation, the soul needs either my heart in order to live, or her own completely transformed into mine. Otherwise she cannot pass on to this state of consummation." And I, all fearful, answered, "My sweet love, my will is no longer mine but yours. Do whatever you want, and I will be more than happy." After this I remembered about some difficulties of the confessor, and Jesus, seeing my thought, showed me as if I were inside a crystal, and this prevented others from seeing what the Lord was operating in me. Then he added, "Only in the reflections of light can one know the crystal and what it contains. The same with you. One who carries the light of faith will touch what I operate in you with his own hand. If then he does not, he will see things in a natural way." November 18th, 1904, Volume 6. The heaven of Jesus on earth is the souls who give a dwelling to his divinity. As I was in my usual state, my adorable Jesus came for just a little and told me, "My daughter, when I came upon earth, my heaven was my humanity. And just as in the heavens one can see the multitude of the stars, the sun, the moon, the planets, and vastness, all placed in good order, in the same way my humanity, which was my heaven, image of the heavens that exist up above, in which everything is orderly, was to make the order of the divinity dwelling inside shine forth, that is, virtues, power, grace, wisdom, and the like. Now, when the heaven of my humanity ascended into heaven after my resurrection, my heaven upon earth was to continue to exist, and it is the souls who give a dwelling to my divinity. Dwelling in them I form my heaven, and from them also do I make the order of the virtues contained inside shine forth. What honor for the creature to lend a heaven to her Creator! But oh, how many deny it to me. And you, would you not want to be my heaven? Tell me you would. And I, Lord, I want nothing but to be recognized in your blood, in your wounds, in your humanity, in your virtues. In this alone I would want to be recognized, so as to be your heaven, and to be unrecognized by all." He seemed to approve of my proposal, and he disappeared. November 18th, 1906, Volume 7. The works without interior spirit and upright intention bloat the soul. As I was in my usual state, I saw only a shadow of blessed Jesus, and he told me only, "My daughter, If a food could be separated from its substance and someone ate it, it would be of no use, or rather it would serve to bloat his stomach. Such are the works without interior spirit and without upright intention. Being emptied of divine substance, they are of no use, and serve only to bloat the person. Therefore he receives more harm than good. November 18th, 1907, Volume 8. By living her nothingness, the soul is filled with God. As I was in my usual state, blessed Jesus came for just a little, and as soon as I saw him, I said, "My sweet life, how bad I have become! I feel I am reduced to nothing. I no longer feel anything in me. Everything is empty. I just feel an enchantment in my interior. And in this enchantment I wait for you, so that you may fill me. But in vain do I wait for this filling. On the contrary, I feel I always return to nothing." And Jesus, "Ah, my daughter, and you afflict yourself for feeling reduced to nothing? Rather, I say to you, the more the creature is reduced to nothing, the more she is filled with the all. And if she left even one shadow of herself, that shadow would prevent me from giving all of myself completely to the soul. Your constant returning to nothing means that you are dissolving your human being to reacquire the divine." November 18th, 1911, Volume 10. What True Crucifixion Consists of. The exterior crucifixion lasted only 3 hours, but the crucifixion of all the particles of his being, and the crucifixion of his human will in the will of the Father, lasted for his whole life. As I was lamenting to Jesus because of his privations, especially in these days, and because he does not even let me see anything more, blessed Jesus told me, "My daughter, I am here in your heart, and if I no longer let you see anything, it is because I have left the world to the mercy of itself. And since I have withdrawn from it, I have withdrawn you also. This is why you do not see what is happening in these days. But for you, I am always intent on watching and listening to what you want. Have you perhaps asked me for anything? Have you been in need of my teachings and I have not paid attention to you? On the contrary, I am assisting you so much that I have placed you in the condition of feeling need for nothing. Your only need is my will, and that the consummation of love be accomplished in you. My will is like a spring, and the more the soul penetrates into my will, the more this spring of my will extends, and the soul takes greater part in all of my goods. So in this period of your life, I want you all intent on forming the perfect consummation of yourself in love. And but sweet love of mine, I am very concerned about my current state. My love, what a change! And you know it. Also, suffering has run away. It seems it is afraid to come to me. Is this not a dismal sign? And Jesus, what you are saying is false, my daughter. If I did not keep you as though bound, you would get up. What is the meaning of your not being able to move by yourself? Of needing others in your things? Is this not a sign that I keep you bound? Having released you from the bonds of my presence, my love uses different devices to keep you bound with me, You must know that true crucifixion does not consist of being crucified in your hands and feet, but in all the particles of your soul and body. Therefore I keep you more crucified now than before. How long did the exterior crucifixion of my hands and feet last? Only 3 hours. But the crucifixion of all the particles of my being, and the crucifixion of my will in the will of the Father, lasted for my whole life. Don't you want to imitate me in this too? Ah, if I really wanted to release you, you would be fine, as if you had not been in bed even for 1 day. However, I promise you that I will come back soon. November 18th, 1913, Volume 11. When the human will and the divine will are opposed, one forms the cross of the other. I was thinking about my poor state, and how even the cross has been banished to me. In my interior, Jesus told me, "My daughter, when 2 wills are opposed to each other, one forms the cross of the other. So it is between me and the creatures. When their wills are opposed to mine, I form their cross, and they form mine. I am the long bar of the cross, while they are the short one, and crossing each other they form the cross. Now when the will of the soul unites with mine, the bars remain no longer crossed, but united. Therefore the cross is no longer a cross. Have you understood? Furthermore, I sanctified the cross. It was not the cross that sanctified me. The cross does not sanctify. Rather, the resignation to my will sanctifies the cross. Therefore, even the cross can do good as long as it is connected with my will. Not only this, the cross sanctifies and crucifies part of the person, while my will does not spare anything. It sanctifies everything, crucifying thoughts, desires, will, affections, heart, everything. Being light, my will shows to the soul the necessity of this sanctification and complete crucifixion, in such a way that she, herself, incites me to accomplish the crafting of my will upon her. Therefore the cross and the other virtues are content, as long as they get something. And if they can pierce the creature with 3 nails, they celebrate triumphantly. Instead, my will, which does not know how to do incomplete works, is not happy with just 3 nails, but with as many nails for as many acts of my will which I dispose for the creature. November 18th, 1927, Volume 23. How, when God manifests a new truth to the creature, it is a new feast for God and for her. As the soul decides to do her act in the divine volition, she calls the divine Fiat to be reflected in her act with its light, that has the virtue of emptying it of everything that is not light. I was feeling afflicted because of the usual privations of my sweet Jesus, but all abandoned in his lovable will. Then I thought to myself, in these days, my highest good, Jesus, has not told me anything. Everything has been profound silence. He just barely let me feel a few motions of himself within my interior, but without a word of his. But while I was thinking this, he moved in my interior, telling me, "My daughter, when God does not manifest more truths, the divine will is as though suspended. It does not add more goods for the creatures. Therefore, for God and for the creature, there is not the feast that the truth brings with itself." On hearing this, I said, "For you it is always feast, because you have all the truths with yourself. But for the poor creature the feast is interrupted, because she does not possess the font of all truths. Therefore, when her Creator does not communicate more truths to her, the new feasts remain interrupted for her. At the most, she enjoys the feasts already communicated by you, but the surprises of the new feasts are not in her power, which is not so for you." And Jesus added, "My daughter, indeed for us it is always feast, nor can anyone shade, even slightly, the ocean of our new joys and endless happinesses that our divine being contains within itself. But there is a feast that is formed in the act when our divine being, overflowing with love toward the creature, manifests its truths. To see the creature twice as happy, and so many more times for as many more truths as we manifest to her, is a new feast for us. To put out our truths that come out of the fonts of our joys, to prepare for the creature the banquet of our happiness that the truth contains, to see her celebrate together with us, sitting at our own table, to nourish herself from our own food, is a new feast for us. Feasts, joys are formed in the communications. Isolated good does not bring feast. The joy does not smile. The happiness does not banquet alone. It does not put itself into liveliness. And besides, with whom can it celebrate, smile, banquet, if it finds no one for whom to make this feast, with whom to smile and to inebriate each other? Therefore, union forms the feast. Rendering another creature content forms one's own contentment. This is why, though we have our new feasts that are never lacking to us, we lack the new feast that we do not give to the creature. If you knew our joy and happiness in seeing your littleness sit at our table, nourish itself from the truths of our supreme volition, smile in its light's face, take our joys in order to make within yourself the deposit of our riches, embellish yourself with our beauty, and, as though inebriated by so much happiness, hear you repeat, "I want the kingdom of your Fiat," you would want to put heaven and earth upside down, to ask me for my Fiat so as to obtain your intent. And to do what? To render the whole human family happy of your same happiness. It seems that your feast is not full if you do not render others happy of your very happiness that you contain by virtue of my will. If you could make everyone know everything that you know about it, and make everyone enjoy the happiness it possesses, would it not be one more feast for you, and would you not feel twice as happy of the happiness of others communicated by you? And I, surely, my love, how much happier and more content I would be if I could overwhelm everyone into your holy will. And Jesus, well then, so I am. To our happiness, to our feast that is never exhausted and keeps us always in feast, would add the happiness of the creature. Therefore, when I see you yearn for my truths in order to know them, I feel drawn to manifest them. And I say, I want to enjoy my new feast with my little daughter. I want to smile together with her and inebriate her with my own happiness. So during these days of silence, you have lacked our new feast, and we yours." He kept silent, and then he added, "My daughter, as you decide to pour yourself into my divine Fiat, and form in it your thoughts, words, and works, you make a call to my will. And my will, feeling called, answers the call by reflecting its light in your act, and with its light It has the virtue of emptying that act of anything human that might be in it, filling it with all that is divine. So my divine volition feels called by your thoughts, by your words, by your hands, by your feet, and by your heart, and it reflects its light in each of them. It empties them of everything and forms in them its life of light. And since light possesses all colors, my divine will places one of its divine colors on the thoughts, another on the words, another on the hands, and so with all the rest of your acts. And as you multiply them, so does it multiply its divine colors invested by its light. And oh, how beautiful it is to see you invested by so many varieties of divine colors and shades for as many thoughts, acts, and steps as you do. All these divine colors and light give you such beauty that it is an enchantment to see you, and the whole of heaven would want to enjoy from such beauties with which my Fiat has invested your soul. Therefore, let your call to my divine will be continuous. November 18th, 1934, Volume 33, Love of God in the Creation, the glory that it would have given him if it had reason. Sacrifice that love makes for his glory. His continuous cry. The army armed with love. Exchanges of love between God and the creature. I am always in search of the acts that the divine will continuously does, and since it never lets itself be found doing nothing, but is always in operating act, oh, how beautiful it is to be able to say to my Creator that his divine Fiat loves me so much that he is extending the sky, creating the sun, giving life to the wind, and all the other things, because he loves me. And so much is his love that he says to me with deeds and with words, "For you I do this. I do nothing but do." It costs us as much to create as to conserve our works. So I went around in creation, and the sky, the stars, the sun, and everything seemed that they came to meet me with their refrain, "For you, our Creator, has created us, because he loves you. Therefore come to love the one who has loved you so much." I was lost in created things, and my always lovable Jesus, letting himself be met, stopping me, told me, "My little daughter of my divine volition, our love was so much, and still is, in creation, that if the creature were to pay attention, she would remain drowned by our love, and she would not know how to do anything other than love us. Listen, my daughter, to where our love for the creature reaches. We created the whole creation without reason. Oh, if we were to have given it reason, what glory would a sky always extended, without ever moving from its place, have given us, because such was our will? A sun that, while it faithfully, without ever changing, acts as administrator of our light, of our love, of our sweetness, of our fragrances, and of all our goods, without ever changing action, and only because we want it so? If they were to have reason, what glory would it not have given us? A wind that, always imperious, blows in the great void of the universe, a sea that always murmurs. If they were to have reason, what glory would they not have given us? But no, the cry of our love cried out more strongly than our glory, and almost impeded us from giving reason to creation. And crying out strongly, it said to us, "It is for love of the creature that we have created everything. Therefore, to her the reason, so that she comes into the sky in order to exchange us in incessant love and perennial glory, because we extended a sky over her head. And in every star we hear her cry of love that loves us with immovable love. She comes into the sun, and transforming herself into it as if it were hers, she exchanges us with the love of light, with the love of sweetness, and she gives us the exchange of love for the administration of our goods that the sun gives her. Therefore, we want the creature in all created things by right of justice, because she gives us the exchange that the whole of creation would have given us if it were to have had reason. This is why we gifted her with reason, and we want that our will would dominate her and would have its royal palace as it has in creation, so that uniting her with all created things, she would understand all our notes of love toward her, and she would exchange them to us with her notes of incessant love and perennial glory. We never stop loving her with deeds and with words, and she is obligated to love us always, and to not remain behind, but to come to meet us and place her love over our same loving notes. Besides this, our love that never says enough, it always wants to give to the creature, nor does it remain content if it does not find new inventions of love in order to be able to tell her, I have always loved you, and with operating love. Therefore our Fiat placed within and invested each created thing with a love, one distinct from the other. Here it placed the power of its love in order to be able to powerfully tell her, I love you. In another, it placed the sweetness of our love, and there the lovability, and there the gentleness, and there our love that enraptures, that binds, that conquers, in a way that the creature would not have been able to resist us. In sum, in every created thing, we placed the weapon of our distinct love. We can say that our Fiat placed in creation an army armed with love, with weapons one more powerful than the other. And gifting the creature with reason, she was to understand and receive all these weapons of love by means of created things. And remaining invested by these specialties of arms of love, she would be able to tell us, not only with words but with deeds, as we ourselves do, I love you with powerful love. My love is sweet, it is lovable and gentle for you, so much so that I feel myself languish, I faint, I feel the need of your arms in order to sustain me, and supported by you, I feel that my love enraptures you, binds you, conquers you. They are your own weapons of love with which you have armed me that love you, that wage war to love each other. My daughter, how much hidden love creation contains! And since the creature does not elevate herself in our will, she does not come to live in it. Even though she has her reason, she does not understand anything, and we remain without the exchange owed to us by justice. And what does our love do? With invincible patience it waits and continues its cry that it wants to be loved by the creature, because for her love it would have sacrificed an interminable glory if he had given reason to the whole creation, for love of the creature. Therefore be attentive to living in our divine volition, so that acting as revealer of our love, it cedes to you the weapons in order to let us love each other with the qualities of our own love. And oh, how content I will be, – and you too will be content by it. End of November 18th. Fiat.